So I'm just going to make the Hawthorn flower syrup. So the first part is I've got all the small branches. You don't need to separate the actual flowers from the leaves. So because the leaves are medicinal as well, they contain the same properties. So that's enough. That can go into the syrup. You haven't got to pull off all the little flower petals. So just loosely separating all of the flowers and leaves from the thicker stems, and that's about 2 cupfuls. So that's probably enough. Just take these ones off, and that will be enough. Right, so to start the syrup, all we need to do is put into a saucepan about a big tablespoon, half a cup-ish of goji berries. I go a little bit heavy on it just because they've got so much goodness. We've got the fresh ginger, so about 2 teaspoons of freshly chopped ginger and a good sprig of fresh rosemary. That goes in. Add in your 3 cups of water and then put that onto the heat and bring it to a rapid boil. And then once it's boiling, turn the heat right down and simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes with a lid on so that you contain all of the vapors and essential oils. Right, so that's now simmered for just under half an hour. So give it a good stir. And when you make this, the aroma coming off of that is absolutely phenomenal. It's so rich, it's beautiful. So now we're just gonna add the 2 cups, 2 handfuls of the elderflowers with the leaves. That goes in. I like adding some lemon balm because it provides that beautiful citrusy kind of energizing taste. So give that just a bit of a tear just to loosen it up and release all the volatile oils. Put that in. Make sure you give it a really good stir. You don't want it sat on the top of the water. You want all of the flowers and leaves to be coated in the liquid. If you need to, if it's evaporated more than you would have liked because it's been on for a bit longer or whatever, you can always top it up with cold water. There's no issue with that. So then that's all saturated. You'll have a look in there. And then just put the lid on, and leave it for about half an hour to extract all of the goodness from those flowers, leaves and lemon balm. So that's now been infusing for about half an hour, so that we know that would have extracted all of the medicinal properties of those flowers and the leaves. So that's now going to be super strong, super concentrated, perfect for a syrup. So all we've got to do is to strain that through a colander into a mixing bowl, give it a good shake, make sure everything comes out. What I would suggest doing is just getting a spoon and just when that's in the colander, give it a good press because there's going to be loads of liquid in those leaves and flowers, and particularly the goji berries are like sponges, and that's going to be the strongest liquid. So give it a really good press down. You can hear that coming out. That can be discarded. And now we've got our super strong infusion. The next bit is really important because you've got to add the honey, but you need to make sure that it's at a temperature that you can put your finger into. If it's any hotter than that, it's going to destroy the enzymes found within the honey. In terms of how much you add, it very much depends upon how long you want to preserve it and how sweet you want it. The more honey, the longer it will survive and it will be edible. The less honey, the less sweeter, the less it will be preserved. Unless you're using the brandy. I do use the brandy because it just prolongs the shelf life really significantly. So I'm going to add about half a cup, about half a jar of the raw honey into that. Okay. And we've got to remember we're viewing this as raw honey, not sugar. Yeah, there's all this stuff about sugar and insulin and glucose, which is true of refined sugar, but not all sugar is created equal. Raw honey is loaded with so many enzymes, fatty minerals, just so much goodness that this is adding to the medicinal properties rather than taking it away. So it's not just there as a preserver and a sweetener, it's medicinal. So once you've added that, I'm going to add a little bit more actually. It should be warm enough that the honey dissolves. if what you don't want to do, you don't want to put it back in the saucepan and heat it up, because that's going to destroy the enzymes. If it doesn't melt because it's too cool, you can make a bain marie or something just to raise the temperature a little bit. But that's all dissolved. If you look in there, you can see that there's no thick honey in there now. Okay, I'm just going to add actually a little bit more, just to make sure that's nicely preserved. So that's about half a jar. And then what I like I said, I do add the brandy, because with that it will last about 6 months. So for that volume, it depends how much liquid you've got, because obviously the evaporation rates will vary. So I'm going to add about 1/4 of a cup to that, but again, we haven't got to be exact. So just maybe two large, these are big serving teaspoon spoons, and then give that a really, really good mix. The smell, I wish you could smell that. It's so beautiful. So you've got a really dark, beautiful hawthorn flower and goji berry, super healthy heart syrup. Leave that to cool. You don't want to cover that. If you pour it into the jar you're using, you mustn't put a lid on it, because you don't want condensation to form. As it cools, it will thicken a little bit. So the consistency of it, in some cases it might stay really runny like that. In some cases it will really thicken. It doesn't matter. It's just the amount of water that you've used and has been evaporated. Once it's cooled to completely ambient temperature, pour it into your bottle. Seal it and label it, date it. I would also make some to put into ice cube trays so you can freeze them, so that they will last, at least a year. All the shelf life and dosing information is on the written instructions that accompany this video. So do give it a go. Such a phenomenal, such an important, amazing herbal remedy.